And then one day after the 2016 election, a student at Bowling Green in Ohio said that white males wearing Trump shirts threw rocks at her and hurled racial slurs. Protests in a university town hall ensued. The student made up the entire incident. And in September of last year, a woman told police on Long Island she was driving home when 4 teens confronted her and yelled, "Trump 2016." And then they told her, quote, she didn't belong here. That, too, was made up. Here now is Dinesh D'Souza, conservative filmmaker and author. Dinesh, what does this tell us about the current political climate and the culture today?
Well, the first thing it tells us is that these fake racial incidents have become normalized. When the Tawana Brawley case broke a generation ago, this was a bogus racial incident involving an African-American woman who had claimed to have been abused and battered. It was anomalous. People really had to scratch their heads because this was such a freak episode. But now there's a procession of these bogus incidents, of which the Jussie Smollett case is only the latest. Now, I think for people watching, they're a little baffled because they probably think, what kind of dementia causes someone to do this? Why would somebody fabricate an incident? And I think that we're dealing here not so much with personal dementia, but what can be called ideological dementia. You touched on it earlier. There's a narrative here that they're trying to advance. The narrative is that the MAGA supporters, the Trump people, are a bunch of racists. Now, it's obviously a tribute to the Trumpsters that they are not racist, because the Jussie Smollets, despite being black, despite being flamboyantly gay, are going out there looking for people to pick on them, and nobody is. So the facts are not supporting the narrative at all. So they figure, why not make up the facts? Why not adapt the facts to the narrative rather than the other way around? And I think this is the demented psychology, the demented progressive psychology that drives these racial faked incidents. And the second reason for them is that they get away with it.
Well, and this is what my point, Dinesh, is that conservatives are quick to sort of say, oh, let's move on. I don't want to dwell on this. And the fact that we don't have people in jail after what happened to Brett Kavanaugh, with that Julie Swetnick, what Avenatti was pushing, all the promises of evidence of how he was drugging people, spiking the punch bowl, gang rapes, people just want to move on from that? I say no way. Otherwise, that stuff continues. Same deal with the Smollett case. It occupied everybody's time, and the Chicago PD was demonized. And, of course, Trump supporters are made out to be these horrible, awful, terrible, rotten people because, look, your people are doing this to this poor actor.
It's important to realize that the Jussie Smollett incident is a hate crime. It's a hate crime, but in the opposite direction. Remember, if Jussie Smollett basically wanted to go and beat himself up, that's not against the law. The real crime here was attempting to pin this blame on a bunch of people who did nothing, on innocent people. And it is this idea of trying to ultimately frame Trump supporters for something that Smollett himself perpetrated. So he's the perpetrator masquerading as the victim. It's very important that he be held accountable for that. Otherwise, the left basically thinks, let's keep trying this stuff. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, we get away with it.
Dinesh, excellent analysis as always.